Hey guys, Toba here for Pro Edge Trading. Today is the day. New update for the auto. We're releasing it today, and I'm going to go over the settings and new features. Yeah, we're really excited about this. Wait till you see what this thing can do. All right, let's get into it. All right, we're going to start here with just a blank chart. And we can put the strategy on. You see EdgeRunner Auto V1.5. And here we go. I'm just kind of go down this line by line. There's a lot of changes. One thing you'll notice up here, if you've already had the auto, you'll really like this. We got rid of the other bars period. You don't have to mess with that anymore. Okay, so as we go down here, first you have these real bar values. Okay, and just so you know, we're on the 2-minute Pro Edge bars, MNQ. Okay. These are similar to the indicator. This still has the indicator built in. You can turn it on and off right here, display indicator. But it's kind of a scaled down version of the main indicator. I'll show you this, but you should probably just use the regular indicator. That way you get all the bells and whistles. But if you don't care about all that, you can use the built-in one, and I'll show you here in a second. So real bar values, you still have that. I'll just show you. You see how you can do the entire hollow bar or just the closes. If you want just the closes, you click this one, close only. And there you go, just the closes. And you can adjust these colors. I just put the strat on here with no template or anything. And then if you want, you can offset the, it'll make more sense with that off. So you can offset the hollow bars. Sometimes that's handy if you want to see the wicks better, to see the flow better, or for kind of diagnostic purposes, you can offset them if you want. But I'm going to show you, you can see those wicks anyway. You don't have to offset it. So real bar values, close, the exit levels. And you won't see these until you're in a trade, but it's going to plot the entries and exit levels for you. As each bar closes, it'll put it on there. You'll see that when you take a trade. This back test, just leave it checked. Don't worry about it, just leave it checked. Okay, max risk settings. You got profit and loss in dollars, and then profit and loss in win-losses count. And you can also have a net mode. That's a little different than just regular wins and losses count. If you get one win, one loss, net is still 0. So you can play with that if you just want a net amount instead of hitting a max amount. Position sizing, you got manual, and you just put in however many contracts you want here. Or you have max risk, so you can say I only want to risk, $200 a trade. And then as long as you have max risk or profit, one of these two set, don't worry about this number. It can be anything, because the auto is going to select a position size, the contract amounts for you automatically. So if you're on manual, of course you want to put in however many trades you want. But if you're on profit or risk, you don't have to worry about that. And then max profit is basically the same way. You say, all right, I want to make whatever $500 a trade. It's going to pick the amount of contracts for you, and the position size that it's selecting is based off, you know, your entries and targets. So we'll get down to that here in a minute. And then entry type, you have the normal entry, background changes, and let me put the indicator on there so that we can see. So I prefer just to use our normal indicator. We'll put it on twice, like normal. And then while we're in here, let me show you this. These two right here, if you have purchased the auto, you'll get these two. These are for the auto, so don't add these to the chart. You can, but you're just going to have a bunch of redundant indicators on there. This is the main indicator, just like normal. EdgeRunner with nothing after it, and that's the indicator you want. So we have that on there. Let me turn these labels off. In case you don't know how to do this, if you don't want all this writing on here, just go in here, set up, label, and delete everything in there. Same thing on the other one. And there we go. So that's our normal look. That's the normal EdgeRunner indicator. Now we're going to go back into the strategy, and I'll show you what's going on here. So normal entries. So we have a lot of choices now, a lot. So normal entry, you can do market or limit. And here's your limit offset amount. You got bars to wait. So if you want to put a limit order on there and say, hey, if it doesn't get in within, 5 bars, put this on limit. If it doesn't get in within 5 bars, just take the limit order off. Or we have the line in the sand. And if you don't know what that is, let's say you were going to take this trade. You're going to limit in and you want a big discount. So you got your limit order way down here. What the line in the sand does is you're saying, if this hits, in this case, 50, we'll do something like 20. If this gets to 20 ticks in profit before I get entered, take the order off. So that's your line in the sand. It can be any value you want. But that's all it's saying is, I want to get in at a discount, limit order, but if it gets too high, just take my order off. And that too high is your line in the sand value, whatever you want it to be. But let's say you don't want to use that. You just want to use the bars. Then just put this on some high amount. That way it never gets triggered. So that's the line in the sand. Background change. We'll come back to the background change. Trade direction. All the normal, long, short, none. 2 trade windows. Top filter. Just like normal, you got a MA filter, and you can choose all these different MAs, period. And then you can tell it trade with a trend or counter trend. Okay, CSV data filter. That is for backtesting purposes, so you can tell it some dates to exclude from the backtest. And I'll show you how to do that real quick while we're here. You're going to open just a regular old notepad file. And this is the format, month, day, year. These are periods. So, and you're going to save that. And I already have one, but save it. It doesn't matter, whatever name you want. Save. And then to get it in here, go back in there, save as, just so you can find it. And by the way, you can save this anywhere you want. It doesn't matter, anywhere on the computer. So you've saved it. You're going to left click, right click, and go down to copy as path. You've copied it. Now just close it. You can close that if you want. Go in here, right click, paste. Now when you do that, it's going to put these little quotation marks on there. So just take those off and then go to the front. Take that off. And there you go. So that's how you get that in there. And like I said, it's just for back testing purposes. So while you're live trading, if you're not on the analyzer, basically, just turn that off. And max risk ratio filter. This is based on any trade type. And, you know, some trades it's not going to apply to as much as others. But the point is, it's going to look at this. It's going to measure, and we can only have this look at so many things. So this is what we did. It's going to look at, say, this was your entry here. So it's going to look at this, and then look at the edge band. This is one of the rare cases where the edge band is lower. Let's get a different one. And get a better example for you. Okay. So let's just say this is our target, 10 points in this case. And then, so here's your entry. Here is the bottom of the edge band. So what the RR feature is looking for is it's going to look for the bottom of the edge band always on any trade, any scenarios, looking at the bottom of the edge band, because that's generally our exits. You know, there's others, there's ATR, there's, you know, static tick, but for RR ratio function purposes, it's going to look at this edge band location right on this signal bar. So this value to this value, and then divide it by your entry to your target. And that's going to give you a ratio of, you know, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, whatever. In this case, it looks like about, you know, almost 2 to 1, maybe 2 to 1. So you can filter out trades that might calculate, you can tell whatever you want. You can say, I only want to take trades up to 3 to 1, 2 to 1, 4 to 1. You know, that's up to you. So in this case, say you had put in 1 to 1, just for example. You just put a 1 in there. It's not going to take this trade because it's technically close to 2 to 1. So that's what the RR filter does. We were really excited to get that in there. There's a lot in here. I'm getting to it. Max risk. Okay. So that's where you turn it on or off. And then, of course, that's where you put whatever value you want. All right, exit settings. You have, for your stop, tick. The tick is just normal static amount. You can put right here, stop loss ticks. Signal bar, that is the edge of the signal bar. So here's your entry, here's your stop. ATR, and that's based off, whatever values you put in here. So let's just say, our normal ATR trades are 2 ATR with a 50% value. So in this case, your stop would be that right there also, whatever that happens to be at this time. So the ATR stop or edge band, you know what that is right there. This candle's covering it up, but your edge band would be right there. And or none. And none would be when your exit's going to be a candle close in the opposite direction. It went against you. These are candle closes outside of the edge band. So in this case, this one made it, but let's just say your target was down here. Here's an edge band, a close outside the edge band. So you'd select none, and that is right here, band break exit. If you select none and don't select this, you're not going to have a stop. So just remember that. If you select none, you're going to have to go down here to band break exit, select that, and then tell it how many bars. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of like that. So that's the band break exit bars amount right there. Just remember, don't forget to do that. Here's all your stops. If you select none, it's going to be none unless you tell it select this band break exit. All right, targets. You got your normal tick value, put whatever you want in there, profit target tick value. Signal bar body. So let's say you're getting in this trade right here. The body is actually, this body. And that amount is going to be added to the entry, and that would be your target. And okay, so you signal bar body, that's right here. This profit target value, you notice it doesn't say ticks, that's a value. Whatever value you put there is how many signal bar bodies it's going to put as your target. So, you can put as many as you want, but, that's the idea, is how many of these bodies you're gonna tell it to put as your profit target. And that's why that says value. Just remember that. It's the value of whatever is in this target type. Whatever target type selection. If it's ticks, it's tick value, then you can put that in there. Signal bar body, how many of those. ATR, same thing. And the ATR is just the same as your stop. It's going to look at this right here. And, so technically you can do it this way. You can have an ATR stop of period value, 2 period in this case, 50% of the value of the 2 ATR. That could be your stop, but your target could be ATR but 2 of those. So hopefully that makes sense. So you'd have a ATR of half, 50%, half of the 2 period ATR, but your target could be 2 of those. So this would actually be a 1 to 2 setup right here. Hopefully I explained that good. Risk value. Just like it sounds, risk value. So that is the value you put in the stop section. So let's say and some of these are redundant because of the background change trades. So some of these, you're not going to use all of these for the normal entry trades. You could, but you don't really need to. They're kind of redundant in here. But to have different trade types and to keep the architecture smooth, this is how we did it. So in this risk value, it's risk. So here's your risk. Your stop is your risk. So if you have an ATR stop type, and here's your ATR period in percent, then your risk value, then your target type is the risk value times profit target value. So that, just to give you an example, say you had ATR for your stop, and you're using a 2 ATR period, 50%. Risk value 1 is going to be one of these. So this would end up being a 1-to-1 setup. But that would be in the ATR case. Let's say you had signal bar in here. Now your risk value, your target type, is the risk value of the stop. So you have signal bar stop. Now that would be, your target would be 2 risk values. You're risking 1 signal bar, so it would be 2 signal bars. And just on down the line. The edge band, same thing. Here's your entry. Here's the edge band. So that's a stop value, right? That's a risk value right there. How many of those do you want to risk? And so that's how you would set that up. But you don't always, this is kind of redundant, I understand, because you can also just do ticks. Just to give you an idea, let's say you put tick value in here, 20 ticks, and you selected risk value, but you want your target to be 40, then it would be 2. You'd be risking 2 times the risk value. This is your risk. Your stop is your risk. You're saying I'm going to risk 2 values that I have in the stop. So in this setup, your stop would be 20. Your target would be 40. 2 of these. 2 of whatever's in these values right here. But obviously, you're not going to do it that way. You're just going to do it like this. But with the architecture to get all these different trades in here, it was added that way so that you can do 2 bodies or 2 distances away from the edge band. Just things like that we don't know the value of necessarily. So you can just tell it, I want to take 2 signal bar risks. So this would be, technically this would be a 1-to-2 trade. You're taking 1 signal bar stop, 2 signal bar target. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, trail. Right here, that's an ATR trail based off of your inputs right here. If you're going to use that, you want to put your profit target up somewhere high. You're always going to have a profit target, but trail up to, it's up to the trader. But just for example, I'm just going to put a high number. And to see it, you're going to need to make sure you plot exit levels is checked. And let me double check. So we got tick value 400. You don't have to have these. It's just what, you can still use the other trade type. But just for this example, we're going to use tick values. Trail, okay. But it works on any trade type. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so there you go. It's trailing up, trailing up, trailing up, and finally trailed itself out. But there's your visual of it. Trail, trail, trail. So that is the trail function. Okay, where are we at? So trail. All right, break even. Or that's the break back. We already talked about that. Break even type. There's your break even selection, on, off. Ticks, percent to target, either way. And then your value. So if I like to use 70%. And then your offset, whatever you want it to be. Here's your adjustments for the moving averages in the hollow bars. If you select those. And the rest of this is NinjaTrader stuff. So let's go back to background change now. We've added a lot of stuff to the background change trades options. Before your only option was to get in here, and that was it. This is your target, but we've added a lot of stuff. You can limit in now if you want. That's your choices: market or limit. You have the same scenarios for the limit. You use it as you do on normal change. So bars to weight, line to sand, that kind of stuff. The chop filter, just leave that on. You just leave chop filter on all the time. Okay, stop type. And it's kind of the same as normal entries. You have the same options. I'm not going to go through all those again. Same rules apply to background change trades, as normal trades. Same thing on the target. The big difference with that the background change trades have is we've added a lot of options. Basically, it has the same options as normal entries. So you can take these background change trades in pretty much any way you want. Same thing: ATR, edge band, body, signal body. All the same options that you have for normal entries, you have for background change entries. The only thing unique to the background change trades that doesn't apply to normal entries is this right here: background change entry weight bars. Okay, you remember we had qualifiers for background change trade conditions, where the background had to be green, bar's got to be green, the edge band's got to be green, it's got to be green down here. That was an entry criteria we had for these trades. Now you still have that, but now you can choose how many bars to look at. Right here, background change entry weight bars. You can put it on 0 or however many bars you want. And what that says is if you put it on 0, as soon as the background change happens, it's gonna enter. Bam, you're entered. No conditions need met except just the background changing color. Or you can put it on 1, 2, whatever you want, and it'll keep looking until these conditions are met. Like in this case, technically this condition's met. Green is probably green here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. But you have that option. But I would recommend, 1 or 2, 0, 1 or 2. You don't want to. This doesn't always happen, or you could wait 3 or 4 bars and you're still good. A lot of times, you know, you'll wait too long, it'll go against you. But you have that option. Let's see if there's anything else. And just remember on the background, change trades. You know, you have all this, all the same criteria as you do for normal trades. Okay, I think that's it. I think I covered everything. If you have any more questions, you can come to the website, proedgetrading.com, support. You can also visit us at Discord. We have a support channel here. And appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you in the next one.